What is up, guys? It's a very special episode of Indie Film Spotlight. Today I have two guests. Des, director and co-founder of Production House 45, and returning member of the podcast, Casterline. Casterline, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you.
Des, thanks for showing up.
It was really tough. I mean, I just rolled out of bed and just rolled onto my couch.
Yeah, you kind of live here. But yeah, so we have a very special episode today. We're going to be highlighting one of our recent projects, Grasping at Smoke. And Des and Casterline are going to pretty much talk about their experience working together, director-actor kind of relationship, and kind of get into the nitty-gritty of the creative process when it comes to breathing life into a character. So guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for setting this up.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the project. So Des, you wrote and directed Gasping at Smoke. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I co-wrote it with Chris Donahue, one of my friends. Yeah, it was kind of a lockdown type writing situation, so we were just doing it over Zoom. This is like part of a bigger project that I have in mind later on. But yeah, I kind of approached it similarly to any other project I approach, just trying to like put my life experiences into the script, and then going from there, really. Then I have like a good team around me, get some great cast to really bring more life into the character, because like the thing is like you can bring your own experiences into the character, which is great, but when somebody else can also bring like their experience into the character, it just like creates even more depth within one person. Mm-hmm. So,
and Casterline, this isn't your first time working with us, correct?
Is it my first time or is it not?
I mean,
no, it's not. Technically not. We have worked together, and we worked together last October as well on this exact project. And yes, it's been such a pleasure working with y'all, because we also worked together in college, and I saw so much of the work that y'all produced in college. So it's like, I knew the talent that was there when I was asked to be a part of this, and I know how efficient y'all are, and so I trusted y'all, and I was so flattered to have been invited to audition and partake, and thank you.
I just want to know straight away, how is it working with Des? Because I know how it's working with Des. How is it really working with Des?
Des has a great mind, and he is like, you just have such a beautiful soul, and you really pour that out into the work that you've created. And I really, really respect the time that you've taken to connect with me as a human being, and to have me understand your perspective and your take on the piece that you've written. It's really given me a different insight to the work. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I mean, just like all the talks that we had though beforehand, I would like to highlight those a lot, because we put a decent amount of prep into this. I mean, I sent you the script. You had your own opinions on it, nothing bad, but just like you had your own opinions on it, and then we met up at a park, did like a rehearsal, and honestly, I feel like most of the rehearsal wasn't even us going over the script. It was going over like the character and like who Mia was, just because we would what's it called? We would connect on certain aspects of Mia's life, just on like relationships that we've had in our life that Mia's also had. It's just crazy. I don't know. It's kind of cool just because you kind of figure out that it kind of allows you to know, like, figure out that like you're not alone at any point. Like you might be going through your own unique experience for sure, but like somebody also has an experience that can like that is very close to yours. It will never be the same, but like just speaking to people and like kind of pouring yourself out into like art and a character like that, it just allows you to connect to people a little bit more too. It allows you to like have more empathy too. I think empathy is like a huge thing when it comes to like working with like each other, because you're putting like all your emotions on the line while you're on camera, and I'm seeing you do it, and like I'm feeling what I wrote come to life. So it's like it's a mutually therapeutic experience, I would say.
Yeah. It's a bit surreal, I'm sure, to always like see that development happen and see like what is on page, on paper, you know, kind of take form. And I've always loved these conversations that we've had, and I love the script because a lot of these feelings are universal, and a lot of these experiences are so universal, no matter how separate you think they may be from you. You know, there's always major themes that exist in most scripts, even if the actual plot takes things to like certain extremes. You know, it's like, is it hurt? Is it loss? Is it joy? Is it fulfillment? Is it stress? Is it success? Like there's just it's just such a wide range of what people experience just in day to day as well. And to put those things in a script and see a very specific character experience those things doesn't make it limited to that character, you know, because it came from one person into this other person that was created. Yeah. So it just passed through the minds of so many experiences, you know, like multiple minds of experiences. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I think it makes sense because like even along the way, I'll like share my stuff with the rest of the PH45 crew and just like get their feedback on it, and whether they know it or not, they're also talking about their own experiences when they're talking about the script that I wrote on my own. So like even smaller bit, like I don't know, people will look at like the actors and directors and they're the ones like putting the emotion on the line and stuff like that, but there's a bunch of people along the way that are also influencing it. It's just the whole like write what you know type of thing. And from like bouncing off what you said, like you were saying that it might be taken to an extreme, but like these are feelings that people have had, you know. So I like in this short specifically, she's having new beginnings. Like I've moved, like even the simplest move of like from your hometown to college is like a new beginning, and
jarring.
Like you, but it's a universal experience that a lot of people have had. New beginnings, losing like friends, even if it's not to like to a cult, like losing like
spoiler alert.
Yeah, for real. But I mean yeah, but even like that's just like an extreme point of it.
Mm-hmm. Or even just the processing of emotions, even those moments when it's like there's like no word for it almost, you know. It's like that weird in between where it's like you are just feeling things and you don't even know what you're feeling. That in itself is a feeling. Mm-hmm. You know, is there a word for that? And creating that on paper, those in betweens, it's very it really helps like develop the character, and it helps the work almost more informative for me as the actor who's bringing it to life. You know, it's the little moments in between that inform me about the way this person exists and the way they take space.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting how we went about this process too, because we filmed this in October 2020. And then we reshot some stuff. I don't remember the exact date on that one.
Reshoots?
Yeah, we did a second reshoot where Casterline came in and we just had to do some reaction shots.
Oh, you got
kitchen. Yeah,
I forgot about that.
We had that one, and then after that we had the reshoots
that we did today. Did today while doing this.
Yeah, in late July, where there was like one more shot that we needed that just like that we needed in order to sell this fully. Yeah. Like I wanted to know like your process in like how you're able to like because each time you come back and have to do reshoots, you kind of have to reconnect to the character, right? So like do you like have this stuff stored, or like are you trying to like reconnect again? Like, what's your usual process with these like reshoots, especially?
I mean, I don't particularly see it as I'm storing it away. I see it more so as though these things already exist inside of me. You know, like those things are already there. And even if I'm tapping into it just like months later or weeks later, to pick things up, I think that in itself is rewarding, because now I've gone through a new set of experiences just in those few weeks, just in those few days, that maybe in those few days I say, okay, I get the gracious opportunity to like revisit this character and to re-tap into that space that exists already inside of me, that makes me connect to the character. And I have not read or performed characters that there's not something I don't relate to. You know, even when you see the villain or the crappiest person, you know, even when it's someone who is like a total dictator, you can relate to ambition, you can relate to passion, and you can relate to just a wide variety of things. That's not to say that I try to relate to tyrants at all points of.
I don't know, guys. What do you think? A little coal in the bottom, but down below.
I mean, I think it's like it's a fine line, but it is crucial in order to sell a character.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, totally. And I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that there's always something special to discover again, you know? And so those things that I already discovered and that I already connected with, they're there and they're in me and they're a part of me. And maybe I'm just that kind of actor, or just my own kind of actor in that way, where that's the way I manifest my emotions, or just project them or confront them. But I never I never allow myself to say, well, let's forget about that and put it in the subconscious. Like, nah, I think that even the weird ups and downs are always good to take note of, to remember, like, there was something to learn there, and there was something special to experience there, and there's something interesting that triggered me to feel that next thing. And we're not perfect. I mean, in day-to-day life, we're messy, you know? We constantly can jump from one thing to the next, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. But that's what life is, right? And that's what it means to be a human, is that sometimes we feel things and they don't make sense, and they just are. And that's okay. And I think that portraying that in characters more is really important. That, like, sometimes it's just like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. And being honest, and it's like, okay, well, why do we not?
I think we lost that camera.
It's
over
been
there.
gone for a while.
Oh, it's been gone for a while.
It's fine.
Okay, do you want to keep rolling?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
It's fine.
Yeah. Losing cameras left and right.
It's always the one on him. It's never the one on you.
Oh, hello, friends.
Yeah, it
I
likes
mean,
you a lot.
I don't even know if that one's still on.
I mean, it should be.
Wow, I can't tell.
Okay.
Back to it, though.
What was I gonna say? Well, I think it's interesting because on these reshoots, as you're saying, like, we're like exploring these characters and stuff, but like re-exploring them is really interesting. Because we go into a reshoot thinking that, like, oh, we only need to redo the thing we just did, but sometimes we redo it and then we like make it a little bit better. Because like I've changed, like, since I directed the original shoot in October, I've like completely changed in those like months. It's not like it's been that crazy long ago, like a little over 6 months, but like especially me, like I'm on a process right now of trying to become like a better director and better storyteller and everything like that. So I'm reading books, I'm constantly doing like research and stuff like that. So I don't know if you can see it, but like when I'm coming into these things, I feel like I'm at least from October to now, honestly, I feel like I'm a little bit better at like explaining how I feel and how like I want it to be portrayed on screen, and like the backstory around things. Then these are just things that I learned in like certain books and stuff like that. That like I always felt like I was doing, but there's like a certain book that I'm reading right now that was just like, just be unapologetic, just go for it, you know, like stop holding yourself back from like pushing the emotion, or like don't think, like, I don't know, it's that whole thing where you don't want to feel embarrassed for having an idea, but like you have to express that idea if you feel it, you know, and because it could be something really good. And if it doesn't work, I mean, the beauty of like filming, like you can shoot again and you can say, no, that didn't work, let's go on the next thing, or you can cut around it and stuff like that, which is like an advantage to film compared to like certain other mediums where you kind of have to like scrap the whole project and restart, you know, like if I start painting and then I like mess up the whole painting, I gotta throw it all out and then restart. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes you can like fix it, but like with film you can just like cut around that stuff, which is really
Or
nice.
create even like new things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I love.
Yeah.
Because we do that a lot.
Yeah, I actually, that reminds me immediately about this one adjunct professor in college named Terry Back, that he was a dance improv professor. And he used to always say, you know, when you feel an impulse, go for it, because that impulse in that moment, you're never going to get it back, you know, ever. And that's special, even if it makes no sense, even if it's something completely bizarre, if it works, if it doesn't work. It's the fact that you felt something in that moment to do it, execute it. Why not? Why not be unapologetic about it? Because there's beauty in that. There's beauty in whatever imperfect thing you want to impulsively create. And I actually want to commend you as a director on just creating a space where you've allowed me as an actor to explore as much as I have, because not every director does this, but you've allowed me to ask so many questions and have so many conversations with you, like we mentioned, but also for me to be honest about the way I feel about my own performances. And the truth is that we're all so critical of our work because we're passionate about it and we want it to be great. And we want to tell stories and we want it to be beautifully imperfect, but we want it to be as imperfectly perfect as perfect can get. You know what I mean? And I think that imperfect, perfect nature comes mostly from the honesty. And I myself am learning as an actor how to be unapologetic about my choices, but also how to be unapologetic on just a day-to-day as a human being, and to be able to express that, hey, like, this is like something that I need, this is something that I feel, this is maybe something I desire, and is there room for me to explore that? And you really, really opened that door for me, which I haven't had that experience with a lot of directors. You know, a lot of directors will say, we're doing 2 takes and that's all you've got. You know?
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah,
did
I
like
feel
a
like 20.
We did like a take 20. I heard take 17 and I was like, all right, girl. All right, girl, you got this. But you know, you allowed me to explore that, and of course there are the times that you would say like, okay, I want to try something different. But you never shut me down when I said, I want to explore something too.
Yeah.
And that's something that if the door is there and it's comfortable enough for you to explore that, it's so special that you allowed me to take that opportunity. And I wish there were more directors like that.
Oh, thank you. I mean, like, I also think it's just like, I don't know. I think I felt like earlier in like starting to direct, I felt like I always had to have the answers, which was just like, it's not possible. And like, I don't know. I eventually got to a point where I think I said it to you when we had like our first meeting. I was just like, if you have a question for me, I might not be able to give you an answer right away. Like, I'm gonna have to think about it for a second, or we're just gonna try it. Those are like the 2 options here. But before like when I started directing and stuff, I felt like I needed to have the answer right then and there, and if I didn't, it kind of like played head games with myself, you know, where I was just like, oh, I'm not doing this right, I'm not like giving them the right cues and stuff like that, because I can be very direct, as a lot of people know, but at the same time, I'm also the number one person second guessing myself, you know, and I think I've been trying to eventually like break that habit, or just like, again, as we've already said, just like trying things, because you really just don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And like obviously time wise, you're not always gonna have time to do that, and you do have to make decisions. Like the first time we shot, we did have to like cut things, and I had to like cut scenes and stuff like that, but I cut those scenes in order to make more room to explore more important scenes. As you were saying, like I don't do like David Fincher amount of cut or amount of takes, which is like 60 sometimes, but like I do like to like keep it going, because I feel like the more the actor does it, the more it just becomes natural for them as the character as well. It just seems like you feel like you're hitting like I don't know, like a pace. Like you're finally on this like pace where you're just like, oh, I'm thinking like the character now, or I'm acting like the character now, or actually it's more like you are the character now, or you are the person in general, as before you were trying to be like the person. And I feel like with more repetition, you kind of just like sink into being the person, and that's like a better performance at the end of the day, because at that point you're just being you, or you like you in your mind you're being you know. So that's why I like to do like a decent amount of takes and just like keep on going until it's like, because you eventually find that one, you know, where you're just like, that was great, you know, like you did everything. Like I give you a lot of notes, but you also ask for a lot of notes sometimes, and sometimes in my head I'm just like, am I giving too many notes? Like I don't know, because I feel like they're like stacking upon each other. I'm like, I personally would not be able to remember all of them, but you're like so good at just like memorizing all of it, and like you might fumble like one take, but then I hear you just like saying it out loud, where you're just like, I have to put that down here, I have to put that down here, I have to make this face. Like you'll start like mumbling it a little bit, and it's just like, it just shows that like you're trying to memorize it, and it eventually all melds together once you do. So
yeah, especially like in the situations that we're in, where it's like we don't particularly have months of time for rehearsal, because a lot of productions do that, and
a lot of time we just were like, yo, can you come,
yeah, and it's like when it is day of things, like that's when I'm so grateful to like, you know, let's just try a new thing, let's allow ourselves to fumble and then try again and get up and just do
takes.
it, like 90 takes later, like, but like we did not do 90 takes, but I think that, you know, it's just where I came from this morning, or where I came from the morning of months ago, or months before that. Wherever I came from is not the exact place of where I go in the work, you know? So it's important that if there isn't particularly like a rehearsal, there's at least space to explore that. There's space to like exist in it, you know? And that doesn't mean that we have to do a bajillion takes, but we do enough that it feels right. Just like you said, where we are now there, living, existing as the character, and we've officially shed off like all of our stresses, all of our daily like carryings from the world. We've left them at the door officially, and we've said that's on the back burner just for now, because now it's important for me to take care and bring to life this character, and to bring honesty to their story. And exploration is all about it, you know? But also there's also the necessity for the great skill of
sorry, my cat in the back.
Yeah, you guys,
Really
I'm hearing it.
really going on.
The cat's like, that's right, girl.
Yo, go girl, go. Yeah, and there's.
But you know, the great necessity for you to be honest with yourself as the director, and for me to be honest as myself as the actor, and for us to see each other and say, I understand, we're working on this, like on our own, simultaneously, together. And that's the production, and then that's collaboration in the end.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like this medium as well. It's just like collaboration, where I don't like you don't need to have all the answers. As I said before, I like slowly came to that realization that as the director, I don't need to have all the answers because I have people I can lean on. Like, I can take care of the things that I know, but like that's part of the reason that I'd let you explore these things, because it's just like I don't know if it's gonna work. So, but it probably will. It sounds right, so like I think it'll work. I don't know. So,
Right. Yeah, and you just allow so much freedom to ask questions and such, you know.
Honestly, watching you guys work together is like the most magical thing in the world, because it's just like this intimate, like creative space where the director and actress like really make these ideas come to life. And it's just so magical just sitting there and watching you. I love watching. Like, I love being on set with you guys. You guys have great chemistry, and also, you know, it's just a thing you kind of need when you're working with talent like this. You know, it's such an interesting vessel. You know, like the film, whatever. You know, any director actor relationship, and it's just like it's crazy seeing that kind of bond between you two grow from the beginning, you know, like doing projects from school and now doing this out of school, and also just seeing the characters develop, like you said, like you mentioned, like it's like you're breathing new life into a new character. I mean, I don't think that was the same Mia we saw when we first started out. You get time to sit with it, marinate with it, and honestly, my favorite part about watching you guys is Desi does give you the space to explore this character, experiment. Like my favorite moment of the day was when we were about to like be kind of done, and then you're like, no, one more. Like you got, I feel like I got this one more. Yeah. Like this is it, and it was it. Like it was
like the best take.
It was one of the best takes.
You let me do it, and like a lot of people wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think that we have instincts as artists on an individual basis that like inform us as to like what we need to bring to the table or what we can bring to the table.
You guys bring a lot to the table.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
And thank you. But you know, I give you so much credit, Desi, and you as well, Brendan, because y'all have allowed the space to be comfortable, because I always say, and it's not to bash on myself or anything, but I'm like a put together mess. You know?
I think we all are.
Yes, like very put together mess. And like I know what I'm doing, and I know how to do the work, and I know how to approach the work. But sometimes you fumble, and sometimes, you know, you're trying to find the parts of you that would be the most honest to the character, and that's not a clean like experience. It's not a clean process. So y'all have allowed me to be just myself. You know, like I've been really myself around you guys, and myself is a lot. And so I give y'all so much credit for being so patient with me and so honest with me, and just created a space to allow me to explore as much as I have, because I have totally allowed myself to fumble, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know. But I've also allowed myself to not wallow in it. Like y'all have never, you know, made me feel like bad for saying I need to explore something new. Mm-hmm. I need to try something else or whatever, because y'all are almost like just allowing my instincts to have space to grow and to take life. My instincts. And I think that instincts are often what's brushed under the rug right away for a lot of actors, because then we always start to think about the technicalities so much that we forget about the very natural things that are calling to us. So thank you for just creating that environment. If every set was like this,
I mean,
damn.
It's also the energy you bring, though.
I was gonna
like,
say, yeah.
Right from the reason that we contacted you is because of the time that we worked together. Like when I was the DP for and you were in one of our scenes for my thesis.
You can
project.
name drop. It's okay.
What?
You can name drop.
Name drop what?
Like I don't know the piece. Like
Oh, it was called Helpless.
You can find it out on
written
YouTube.
And directed by Alex Behrens. Who
Alex
was
Behrens,
also great.
shout out. I don't know if you're watching this, but
I mean, that piece would have been nothing without him, but also without you, because you came in at a point where we were like filming a lot already, so we were already kind of like dragging, where we were like, oh my god, this is like we loved doing it, but it was tiring, and then whenever you come on to set, you're like, you say you're loud, but it's like an energy that it's like, oh, I can keep going, I can also keep going,
I can do 19 takes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I want to bring in that energy because, like, the energy you bring in affects the people around you. And if we're all going to create great work, we all kind of have to mesh energy in a positive way. It doesn't mean that y'all have to be on my level, like moving fast and talking fast and projecting like crazy like me, but I want y'all to know that I'm enthusiastic about this work and that I'm so grateful and excited to be here. And that's going to make y'all excited to work with me. And I want y'all to be excited because y'all trust me to bring this story to life. And I don't ever want anyone, I think a worst feel of mine is the director being like, oh man, I don't know if we picked the right one. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think something we talked about from the beginning, though, also was that I would rather you be big and then me pull you in than you not giving me enough, because I like to have options, and I like to pick those options. And I mean, it just keeps on tying back to like the same theme here, where just allowing ourselves to be unapologetically like us, and me giving you that space to like be unapologetically you and being the character as
So before we left off there, we were getting into a little bit about the process of actually like working together. Us really just gassing each other up about how awesome the space is.
Yes.
But really, it was just a creative space that you got to like create for the actors and the team. The positive energy, especially with this crew. I mean, film is it's a tough industry. A lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of just unhappy campers all around,
including the people making it.
No, that's what it is. The people making it are terrible because you're doing like long days, and it's just I feel like we're kind of, I don't want to like toot our own horn just yet, but like we're slowly trying to like revamp the whole film.
At least how we
do it.
it.
I mean, as long as we approach it, especially in the indie circuit, you got the little flexibility of I don't want to say cutting corners, but you're able to be a little more lax, especially with a smaller crew. And also, we prefer that. Like we've all worked on big production stuff, and it's fun, but it's also very taxing. I mean,
do I want to direct a $10 million feature eventually?
Oh, of course.
Probably.
Of course.
But
that would be nice.
And again, this is where we start, and it's just these connections, these relationships you create in this space, and I feel like you knock it out here, you can knock it out. Like that's where it all kind of starts. And also, you got to find, it's really a relationship thing. I mean, we were talking about in our interview about the collaborative kind of aspect of filmmaking and how much of it is not just one person, the director, doing it all, and the actors are just like becoming a part of it. It's really a collaborative piece. Everyone's kind of has their own input on it, and it's just like you're literally making, like, it might be Desi's script and idea, but I'm always behind and breathing down his neck, being like, and Chris Donahue. I'm sorry, I know. Thank you, Chris. But I'm always like, hey, what about this? I'm always giving my 2 cents. I'm the logistics guy. I'm like, hey, is this logistics? This isn't logically working out, or like, hey, let's try this. We don't have money for that. I'm sorry, we can't do that. We gotta redo that. Or even just like bringing in other talent. It's just our creative stuff. It's just the environment that we create it's beautiful, and it's a very intimate thing. And just having another aspect of acting into it, it's great having. It's wonderful working with you. When Des brought you on, it was just like, it kind of fit, like you're the puzzle piece, like kind of fitting with us, and it helps when you work with people who are like-minded and like really ready to experiment with things. Like I mean, we've said that so many times during this interview. We love your energy, and it's just great having you on set.
Y'all are the sweetest. Thank you.
Yeah. It's the beards. We're all the sweetest.
We're all blushing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so you guys want to talk a little bit about the piece you guys are working on right now? Maybe not too much, but give a little taste for the audience.
So go watch it now.
Go watch it now. I mean, depending on where we're at with this, it might be out, or it might not be. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
But yeah, what have you guys, both of you, Castellan, you can answer this first. Working on this project, where have you felt like you've grown yourself, and where have you, I guess it's mostly the growth. Like, where have you seen yourself grow from this, working on this project?
Man, I've done so much growing over the past few months, and I definitely feel like a story like this informs me a lot in that process because of the new opportunity of being around new energies and working with other like-minded people. But this project in general has allowed me to reflect a lot on what it means to lose something very special. And I think that everyone experiences emotions in their own individual way. But this project specifically has put into perspective what it means to feel like you have to be numb, or numb enough where you're faking strong for yourself, and that sense of like faking strength, at least for the time being, because it's like you have to keep on living, like your life doesn't end because of a tragedy. That idea is something that I think everyone can relate to, because no one dies from stress or die. Well, no. Well, I take
And the
that
comments
one back.
are blowing
I take
up.
that one back. I take that one back. But like,
We're gonna take that back.
we're gonna take that one back. But no one dies from being overjoyed with happiness or being incredibly dreadfully sad. It's other things that kill people, like stress. But in that process, we are strong for ourselves, even if it's just temporary, even if we're just putting on a mask, because we have to get by, because life doesn't stop for anyone. And if you allow yourself to fall into a kind of hole in a way because of a certain set of experiences, it's like you are practically letting said experience drag you down with it, rather than allowing time to continue for you and allowing yourself to evolve through it, like growing through what you go through.
I mean, I love hearing this because, like, I like, it's almost like when writing and directing it, I didn't even realize that these things were coming off until you're saying them now.
I was just gonna say, I'm like,
but
wow,
like,
yeah, you're right.
once you say them, and I'm like, you're right, and then I start thinking about all the things that I subconsciously connected to while I was writing it and directing. It was just like because I didn't really think of it in that way. But I mean, maybe I just didn't sit with it long enough. But I mean, I wouldn't have had that perspective, and that character wouldn't, like Mia, wouldn't have come to life the way they did without you and you having that perspective on the character. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's helped me grow so much. It's just being able to acknowledge, like, oh, that's the thing we do when we're in that tough of a bind. It's like a defense mechanism. It's like our brain and our heart's way of protecting itself is by pushing through it, even if it's holding back tears, holding back pain, not being outwardly honest, but internalizing everything and holding it in, because you just have to make it to the next thing and the thing after that. And and then once you're in your room in private, you allow yourself to crumble. Or maybe it's the thing that makes you snap, that allows you to remember, like, oh, you're a person that's feeling things. And being honest about those things reminds me on a day-to-day basis that, hey, you're allowed to feel what you feel, because we are multidimensional people, and emotions and life is not linear. It is so all over the place. It is a roller coaster ride, and we are bound to run into bumps in the road that make us feel like we are set back in life. But a lot of us, and I can't say everyone in the world, because there are unfortunate circumstances of humans that it is harder for them to move forward out of difficult circumstances. But when people do, there's just like an innate thing that is pushing you forward. And I don't know where, like, that's just like a human thing, a human way to protect yourself. It's empathy for yourself, but it's also a way of like taking care of yourself. And I feel that all the time. And this production has helped me grow in understanding that that's okay. Because I am an emotional person, let me tell you. I am so emotional. I am
To an extent, you have to be in order to like create these characters, don't you think? Because I don't know. It's just like I have so much respect for actors, in the sense that it's just like you have you the only way to sell a character is to show the emotion. So you have to put it on the forefront.
And it's so hard because it's like, this is me looking at a script like this and then leaving after experiencing having brought this character to life and admitting to myself like, wow, everything affects me. And that almost makes you feel like that's a weakness. You know, that almost makes you feel like, why does everything affect me? Why do I care so much? And it's like, I can't help but feel everything so deeply. And I'm working on it. I'm like talking to my therapist about things. I'm like, girl, I'm crying every other day. I'm getting mad over the silliest things or uncomfortable about certain things. But it's just the fact that things affect us. And I'm just being so honest with myself about that. And being an actor and working in roles like this allows me to be like, to say to myself, like, it's okay. You know, a lot of people will be like, why are you so emotional? Why do you care so much?
Well, I made you go through a few emotions too in certain scenes where like I was just like, she's up, like literally within 30 seconds I'm like, she's up here, she's down here, she's up, she's down, you know, like, oh, she's feeling like melancholy, or not melancholy, she's feeling like joy here, and then she's feeling melancholy, and then she's like back to curiosity, and now she's scared. And it's just like watching you be like do that is like crazy. And just like the single tear on the left eye that you do so well, purposely or not purposely, it's just it's a crazy skill that not everybody has.
My body knows its cues. Maybe.
You shared a little bit of the secret. What was it called? Like you mentioned something to me, because I was like, how do actors make themselves cry? Like, what were you?
Right.
It's over with an M. What did you say?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I was referring to Meisner technique. Meisner technique. And there are so many acting techniques out there that help a person connect deeply. But in Meisner technique, you take a set of your own experiences and you actively apply it while existing in a scene. So that's a dangerous situation.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
For sure. I mean, actors, they do a lot of crazy, like, it's just like not them just being the character. They tap into themselves a lot for these scenes.
Yeah, totally. And some people thoroughly become someone else, and it's just something that they totally are not.
But it's in them.
But it's in them.
It's there.
That's why.
Yeah, totally. It's totally in us. And that's actually something that I love about Meisner technique, because it reminds me, just like we were just mentioning, and what I'm mentioning that helped me grow is saying, like, this is a human thing. I don't have to see something that has never happened to me and feel nothing. I feel everything because I understand what it means to feel things, you know, to feel fear and sadness and joy and excitement and horror and pain and stress and jealousy and I don't know, and sexiness and all of the above. And the absurd obsession to pet every dog that walks by me, you know? All of those
or
things.
in this case, cats.
In this case, cats.
Yeah.
As Caesar sleeps over there.
All the
Dude,
cats.
he's so cute. I've been looking at him this whole time.
Yeah, he's
not the whole time, but like I like every time. I've been checking the camera.
Picture
So
of
like if you
Caesar
see
here.
me going like this, it's not that I'm not paying attention. I'm just making sure all the cameras are rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I caught him over there. He's a pretty cute looking guy.
Yeah, he's sweet. Yeah, and that's a great thing to experience as an actor. Honestly, it is cathartic. it's cathartic, but us as actors have to keep ourselves in check, right? Because you can't actually roll around through the streets of Manhattan, cry. I mean, you can.
Are you sure?
Like,
It's apparently
I
just.
mean, I've done it.
You really can, actually, but like,
You can't make a living out of it.
you can't make a
Or
living.
can you?
There might be something.
Straight actors.
But it's so difficult to do that, to roll around the streets and not allow your emotions to take over you to the point that I'm not just a put together mess, but I'm a mess, you know? And I'm being a mess to the point that, you know, I know people who can't even like have conversations because of a tragedy that had happened in their life. And this is where I go back to thinking about this character on this page and like the strength that it takes to just be able to pick the phone up and not immediately burst into tears and not immediately say, I'm not gonna answer. To not immediately say, I'm not gonna take the leap of faith to make this important step in my life that will better me. A lot of people will say, I'm fine here feeling the weight of this.
Yeah. I mean, I think directors and writers have this, like, advantage is the wrong word. Like, you're saying that, like, you have to explore your emotions as an actor, but you can't do that on a daily basis because it's frowned upon. But, like, I'm trying to think of the right. It's almost like a shield, you know, where like directors and writers have a shield where it's just like, I'm just gonna put it on paper and then let somebody else
basically
explore it completely, and I'm just gonna sit here and I'm feeling it, but
That
I'm
works for
feeling
some
it
people, though.
silently.
That
Yeah.
works for some people, and that's almost kind of like, I feel like when people go into writing, they need to have everything fleshed out right now, and I feel like that's the biggest fall of writing, because I feel like people stress too much about creating this character before collaborating with someone else. Because I mean, I personally had, I don't know about you. You can talk for yourself. I don't want to talk for you, but like when it comes to me writing, I feel like I have these character ideas and how they feel, but you really don't see those characters come to life until you work with the actors. Because the characters you created are right in front of you, and you see them, and you're like, you know what, that worked in my head, that like little quirk or something, you know, that the way they acted, but seeing it in real life doesn't really translate. And the actor brings something for themselves, you know. They have their own brain behind their eye, you know, like they have their own ideas, you know.
I mean, you can only like flesh it out so much in your brain until like it's like happening in real life, you know. Like once it starts happening in real life, you like realize what's working, what wasn't working, and like what can be added.
Yeah,
you know?
And that's always what can be added. I mean, you guys, seriously, again, bringing you guys back together, it's just like, I just love seeing the magic happen. It's really is magic, you know, the synergy that's just created. So.
And it's like, it's crazy because it's like, would this connection happen without this like ability to create short films and films in general?
Right.
Like, would this connection have happened? Because I don't think we would ever like cross paths in many other ways. And I think when we did cross paths, we were, especially through a character, we were able to explore our similarities and then figure that out. And it's just like, it's crazy to really go through all that together.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for, you know, taking the time and really being honest with each other and being honest with ourselves. I mean, that was really awesome. That was really awesome just hearing you guys talk about this kind of relationship between director and actor that not a lot of people have the insight on. Would you guys like to give any advice for actor-director relationships or anything going on, you know, right now, like for people trying to do this?
I'm still trying to figure it out as much as possible, but I think my number one thing right now, it might change in a couple months, it might change in a year, but right now I think my main focus right now has been empathy, and just being empathetic towards what like the actors are putting into it, and like, even though this isn't really the definition, being empathetic towards your own emotions, and like, I don't know, it just like, we said it a million times, like unapologetically put yourself on the paper, unapologetically put yourself on the screen, and like, you're gonna think it's a stupid idea, or that's just
until you see it, though.
Yeah, but that's just because people told you it's stupid to do on day-to-day interactions. But like, people expect it when it's on camera.
Yeah.
So you have to do it.
And I so agree with you on that with empathy, and I would say, because I gave some advice to actors before, but I think that something that I would expand on right now for just anyone in the industry, whether you are a director or an actor, is a matter of taking care of yourself so that you are your best self moving forward with your work with other collaborators. Because I think in this conversation, I kind of brought up a lot of themes surrounding like just mental health, and we don't take care of ourselves enough sometimes. And in everything that I've said about how, yeah, maybe we can't walk through the streets and how like sobbing or expressing all of our emotions, and or maybe we can, or the fact that some people are able to move forward and take the steps that they have to, and some people can't. All of it is okay as long as you are taking care of yourself to be able to be your best self in whatever workspace fuels you. That is just so thoroughly important.
You know, I mean, I don't want to take away from being like, you should have some like technical knowledge as well.
Of course.
And I feel like that's something we didn't talk about a ton here. But I think the technical knowledge is just like not even the base, honestly. Like it's there to kind of support what's going on, but it's the empathy part in the end, and just emotions in general. Just putting them on screen, putting them on paper. I think that in the end, that's like the most important part once you learn the technical stuff.
Yeah. Empathy for others and empathy for ourselves.
That's something. That's gonna sit with me for a while. But guys, thank you so much for sharing your relationship, your experiences, and just overall. It's seriously, it's magic happening in front of me watching you guys work together, and just us working together as a crew. You know, but yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for this episode of Indie Film Spotlight. Like I said, very special little deep dive in our recent project, Grasping at Smoke. We'll have all the information for that down below. Thank you guys so much for having this time.
Go check out all the other IFS episodes.
Oh yeah, go check out all the
great host here.
Thank you. And you guys notice we're trying out some. Oh, I'm like in this camera too. We're trying out something new. We'll see how this goes. Things kind of being a little bit better, and also not better. I don't know, but we'll more content like this might be coming down the road. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.